Hey man, how you
Hello.
doing?
Hello, how are you?
I'm excellent. Nice to talk to you finally, bro.
Right on, right on. What's shaking?
So, before we get into T.S.O.L, I read on your bio that you were once part of the Dickies and Head PE, and you also work with NWA's MC Ren.
Oh yeah, well in like '94, my friend and I were in the studio recording rock tunes with MC Ren.
Seriously, holy shit! Wow, that's fascinating. Yeah, I'm more hardcore punk and noise than hip hop, but I do love some NWA.
Nice,
Did you
cool man.
ever? So, what all did you put out with him?
Nothing, just did it. Basically, my friend Bruce Card and I were in a band called Bad Example, and he was working there, I think, as a carpenter because he does painting and renovations, but also like a long hair rocker dude. And so one day he's in there, and Tamika Wright, who was Easy E's wife at the time, was like, "Hey, we're looking for some musicians. You know anybody?" Bam! So I show up the next day, and we just start banging around a little bit. We we didn't really do much except jam with him for a couple of days. I don't know if it was recorded. I forget if it was recorded. I mean, we were just hanging out, smoking weed. It's like just doing our thing.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
You're the first punker that I've interviewed that has I've seen that. I just saw that name come up and I was like, whoa, is that like the MC Ren of NWA? So I
Oh yeah,
just
dude.
had to ask you that.
I also was involved in a band called Laura Dawn and the Sixes, and then Laura Dawn later became the singer for Moby, and she was singing with Moby, doing that fucking "Here we are now, all from the east side," right? So
Damn.
She was Moby's singer for a while after I was in her band, and then he took one of her songs and remixed it for a movie called Bush Family Values, which exposed the Bush family and the governmental lies. And I'm on that track, so it's kind of cool to have like a Moby remix as well under my belt. So
You
I'm definitely the first punker that's ever played for MC Ren and has a Moby remix.
that's awesome as hell. Yeah, you to an extent, you kind of the way your bio reads, you kind of remind me of Travis Barker because he's punk rock and he's also hip hop as well.
Yeah, sure,
I
totally.
love it when musicians cross over into other musical worlds and not just stay one. It's really nice to have diversity in music like that, and I really coin you on that stuff.
Oh yeah, man. I was one of those guys that always got kind of clowned when I was a kid for listening to these wild records. Like why are you listening to this bullshit? Why are you listening to fucking REO Speedwagon? And why are you listening to Billy Joel and Elton John? I'm like, dude, because that's kind of really cool beats and trippy songwriting and like all this like different interesting stuff. I go, there's a lot going on there if you listen
Well,
to it for
yeah.
more than like you think it's a gay singer. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean,
Like there's all that, you
a
know?
lot of younger punks today, and I've heard many of them say this, like they'll shit on Led Zeppelin and all them older bands, but truth is, a lot of those older rock bands, the rock gods as we call them, influenced punk bands.
Yeah,
It's just
exactly.
trickle down musiconomics. I just
Yep.
made a Reagan
Exactly.
reference.
Exactly. Exactly.
So you were
No,
also
you're
in
so true.
Head PE.
Yeah, yeah. Did a couple of years with them.
I listened to them in high school a little bit. I can't really recall any of their music. I remember New World Orphans. That's the album I do remember.
Yeah, that's the album that I played on.
Dope. How was that?
Yeah, so I played. So there's like 26 songs on that record. We recorded that in about 3 days. I think I only recorded about I'm gonna say 16 or 17 songs, and then somehow he made up another 10 out of all the beats that I played, and then just started pulling all this shit from like the sky, literally. Because you remember some of the songs were like, "The sky is falling, the sky is falling." The Mayans and the Hopi, da 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 da. He's fucking talking about conspiracy theories and about fucking, the Illuminati and the eye in the dollar bill is really a fucking camera that watches you take a poop at home. All that shit. So I was only in that band for a couple of years because I realized that I wasn't insane. I love the music, but I'm just not insane, you know? So having said that, it was a blast. And I got to tour all over the world and go to like probably 15, 16 countries. I've been to 35 countries playing the drums.
Jesus.
And, 15 or 16 countries alone with Head PE. And it was a lot of fun. But you know what?
That's
When it comes down to
phenomenal.
it, you really got to stay true to who you are and you got to fucking be your own person. And I wasn't my own person in that band. I was somebody else.
I've always wanted to ask, what the hell does Head PE stand for? I've always wanted to know that. Do you know?
Well, I think Head was like HED was like their little side name, and then PE meant planet Earth, head planet Earth. So I don't know whatever that
Damn.
means.
It's kind of
Yeah,
that is kind of deep right there.
yeah,
I remember listening to them in high school, and then I kind of just dropped them because the whole new metal stuff just I phased out of that. But out of all there's people in that scene like Limp Bizkit, which Head P, Korn,
right.
Disturbed. Head P is definitely on the pinnacle of all that stuff. I mean, in my opinion, haven't listened to them in over 10 years, but I just noticed you were in that band, and I was like, I gotta bring that up. And then you
Yeah,
were,
yeah, it was super fun. We got to tour some crazy stuff and do like 3-6 Mafia, Insane Clown Posse. Toured all over the place with Tech Nine. Partied on Tech Nine's tour bus after the show.
yeah, I know
You
Tech
know,
Nine. I'm from Kansas. I'm from Ottawa, Kansas, and he's from Kansas City. So it's in
there you go.
Kansas we kind of celebrate him. I've never seen him live, but I've heard his music, and yeah, he's
He's pretty rad. And Chris
a
Calico and Cut Capital and Raw, bros. And so yeah, that's all going down. That just fucking just live at 5. Show up and blow up with those bands and really just enjoy life and just travel around the world and make music. But my focus lately has been with staying home and taking care of community and friends. And I'm helping a
hell
homeless
yeah.
person right now. It's like crazy what's going on. Like right now as we speak, I'm helping a homeless guy. Like
Yeah,
this
that's
morning,
that's
my friends and I were
wonderful.
just there. Crazy. If you check back on my Facebook page right now, look at some of these live updates, your mind will be blown what's been going on.
I just followed you the
But
other day because I'm. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, it's another whole like can of worms story. But yeah, give me some specific TSOL questions. What do you got?
Well, before I was gonna ask about the Dickies, and then I was gonna get into that. Were you in the
All right, go
Dickies?
ahead, go ahead.
Um, what part of the Dickies time frame were you in?
I played from 2003 to about 2007 or 8, maybe even 9. I was in and out for a couple years because I got really busy with Head PE. But the cool thing was is that um, the Dickies always let me like split and then come back, and I had a gig. Same thing with TSOL. Those guys were like really cool, like kind of like working around the schedule a little bit. So I did that for a while until it didn't work out. So I want to say I was steady for about 4 years and then on and off for about 2.
Just saying, I for a moment thought you were gonna say the Dickies let me banana split. I thought you were about to say that.
Oh, I
Making
love Vanessa. What's crazy is that we had at the same time I was doing the Dickies, Head PE, Rhino Bucket,
Jesus
TSOL, and the Cadillac Tramps.
busy.
Yeah, so that was all going on at the same time. And
How
Head
how'd you
PE
do
was
it?
like a tour bus band with a crew and people doing the laundry. And then TSOL was a band that survived on favors from friends, and everybody that was on the crew was an ex drug addict that was on the crew for free, and everybody that was on the local crew was some junkie or alcoholic that they knew that they were going to go to a meeting with that night and help out. And so it would be crazy because I'd go from like these two different worlds where everybody was just completely like fried, and then go on tour and like everyone's got all their gear squared away. I mean, everyone's partying and being a little bit of an asshole, like more of that rock star shit with Head PE than TSOL, but everybody was prepared in Head PE. Everybody had the best gear. Like no one was like Head PE. TSOL used to show up and wonder where the amps were coming from at like 6 o'clock on the day. You
Sounds
know,
like Jack Grisham, all right.
it was unbelievable.
Yeah, TSOL. Shit. TSOL is like other than Bad Religion, they're my favorite punk rock band of all time. I've interviewed Jack Grisham in 2017, although I'm sad because that audio corrupted. Like literally right after, I had a 2 hour long interview with him, and then after the call, the audio corrupted, and I literally cried. That was my first ever interview, and then 2 years ago, or last year, I interviewed Joe Wood of his era, and then
Right on.
I'm supposed to talk to Antonio, the current drummer, in a little bit. And then
Yeah.
you, so it's just I'm just trying to get all the TSOL story. But so, how did you become a part of TSOL?
I was in the Dickies. I was playing in the Dickies, and we were on the road. And their tour manager, Eddie, nice guy Eddie, said, "Hey, the Dickies need a drummer." And I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, no. I was actually nope. That's how I got the TSOL gig. They said TSOL. I was actually at how did I get the Dickies gig? Oh! Now I remember. I walked into the Rainbow and saw Little Dave Teague, and Little Dave Teague stood up and he says, "Tiny, yes, okay, we need a drummer, and that was it. And then I went to my warehouse that I had at the time, and we practiced in this big open warehouse. It was so loud and so fucking loud. And this guy's got like his guitar in there, and I was just like, wow. And so yeah, we hashed it out, and I don't think I did a rehearsal with the band.
With
I
the
think that,
T.S.O.L. or the Dickies?
oh, either one of them. It was pretty crazy. I showed up and just played all the Diggy songs, and then when the T.S.O.L gig came around, nice guy Eddie said, "Yo, T.S.O.L needs a drummer." I was like, "Great!" So I learned a bunch of songs. Showed up at this warehouse. Showed up at this rehearsal place, Fortress in Hollywood, really famous studio, and I played like 6 songs halfway through, and Mike and they stopped me each time. They go, "Yep, that's cool. You know that one. All right, let's go on to this one." And they'd stop. They go, yeah, that's good. You know it. You know, obviously, you know your shit. Like I went freight train. I went freight train fucking badass through each of those songs so hard. And that's one of those things that I really talk about with people moving on. You know, with like your career. Know your shit so well that they fucking stop you halfway through the song.
That's awesome.
That's what happened.
God damn. So you entered to TSOL 2003 2
That
ish.
that was like 4.
Oh,
So
four.
Dickie 2003, then the TSO 2004, and I left in 2015, something like that. Yeah.
So your first album was Divided We Stand.
My first album with them was Who's Screwing
Oh
Who?
yeah, the
18 non-greatest hits.
yeah, that album. I love So the song on that Man or Machine where Jack Grisham were who fucked that up like the intro there? 'Cause I love that fuck
So,
up.
so here's the story. The whole time we're recording, Jack is staring at you like you've done something wrong.
Oh god.
He's literally staring at you like at some point you're gonna owe him money,
Oh my god.
right? And so I'm 33, just wet behind the ears in this whole punk rock bullshit. And mind you, Anarka, is that how you say your name?
Yeah.
Mind you, Anarka, I've never been arrested. Okay, so there I am doing my thing, and Jack wants to fucking kill me
Oh
because I
my.
want to stop in between songs and tune my snare up because I'm beating the shit out of it that it's like going out of tune. It's like going boing, right? And he's like, Tiny, Bill Jack Grisham quote, "No one knows the difference between a tuba and a bass drum. What the fuck do you care?" So that was fun. So when you're asking about the moment where, hold on a minute now. Hold on. I'm gonna provide for you and your viewing pleasure. You know, so you heard that.
Cocksuck, fuck, shit, fucker. We can leave that on, son of a bitch.
Like, what the fuck, dude? Are you rolling?
Yeah, we're rolling, asshole.
Well, fuck you then. Ah. So the story of that is that a lot of those records, a lot of those songs, my brother, they were flowed right through to the next. They weren't tracked. They were recorded like we were in a building playing a show. We set up all of our gear like we were in a show, and we played facing forward like we were at a show, and we just recorded it all.
That's awesome.
And I never got to change heads. I never got to stop. I think I might have recorded 2 of those songs twice. Everything else is the first fucking take.
That's punk rock.
Yep.
I just
Everything else is Jack saying, "You know the songs, pussy. Let's go."
I love this.
Meanwhile, I was still doing drugs and like acting a fool. And I was a little discombobulated that day. And I most definitely would have needed all of my moments in between songs to gather my faculties. And arriving at like 10 a.m. with all of your stuff after partying all weekend and being fucked up and drinking and whatnot, and then like being shaky in the morning, not good. So I was thinking, okay, I show up, I set my stuff up, and then we're tracking by 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and we do our drum pass, and then tomorrow I show up at noon. I'm okay. No, I was tracking like an hour and a half, 2 hours in, like throw the mics up, go. So what you hear is me playing the song, me going, and then Jack just like raising his hand for no reason over his head. So when Jack raises his fucking hand for no reason over his head, staring at me, I stop. Right? What the fuck's the drummer gonna do, right? I mean, now I'm in trouble for listening to the singer. That's how Jack Grisham operates. He is one of the most talented guys I've ever worked with, but he's fucking insane. He's insane.
know.
He's insane as quick on a ball field.
I love
He's
this.
insane. So basically, it's like this. I'm sitting there fucking just bashing out the songs. He's yelling at me in between each song, and then he's going to put that out on iTunes. Because if I had a $300,000 a year business, that's how I would treat it as well.
I'm just saying, I've always, whenever I listen to this album, I always play that over a few times.
It's just crazy. And so he goes, so I go, and then he starts singing, waves his hand. I go, what? He goes, cocksucker. I go, well, I don't know. You start waving your hand. Are we fucking rolling? He's like, yeah, we're rolling, asshole. I'm like, and if you turn it up really loud, you hear me go, whatever. And then I just play the song again.
I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
God.
But what's funny is that is really a true representation of those guys, that record. So I probably do have to hand it to their artistic fucking value, and they know what they're doing. Because that is what you get with T.S.O.L. You get a band that might flub one of the songs that they've been playing for 35, 40 years.
The only other punk rock band that I know that would do that and keep it on record is NoFX. And
Yeah.
I love when I listen to a punk rock album and there's something like that in it, because normal rock bands, oh no, if the drummer or someone messes up, gotta take that out of there. I love
dude,
it when bands keep it in.
How about this? Here's a good story for you. One time at the Vault, I fucked up. Jack called me out on stage, told me to come to the front. Then it invited a girl up on stage to kick me in the ass.
Oh my god.
She did a running start and kicked me in my balls. And then Jack pummeled her into the audience.
Oh my fucking god.
She like kicks me in the sack, and then Jack just goes poof with his arm and just fucking doink, and just throws her into the audience, like with a side on. Like it was not abusive, but it was like one of those. It's like a little cow pusher on the front of a vehicle doing 5 miles an hour.
That's fucking crazy.
And she went and hey, she got what she wanted. You get up on stage and you send us a lawsuit. You're a fucking idiot. Don't get up on stage and you won't get chucked into the pit.
Well, Jack Grisham did say on Eric Blair's Blaring Out in 2001 that if you come to a T.S.O.L. show, expect danger.
The fucking thing about T.S.O.L. is this. I went to a fight and a T.S.O.L. show broke out.
You went to a fight. That needs to be put on a shirt.
Instead of I went to a T.S.O.L. show and a fight broke out. I went to a fight and a T.S.O.L. show broke out.
God damn, yes. I really wish I could see them live.
I can remember being on the seat and all the lights come on. And there's one of our friends in a pool of blood. Almost lost his eye. Now, if he hears this, he'll know who I'm talking about. You were a knucklehead and you ran in the wrong circles. And you were wearing your colors on your sleeve. And some people don't like that. And they regulated this guy in the middle of the pit, and they almost killed him. But that was a very disturbing band to play in, my bro. And many times we would stop and discontinue while they figured it out. And guess what? Many times, one of the members in the band physically assaulted someone else that was doing some fucking stupid shit, including myself.
Damn.
So it was a very, very like liquid situation the whole time. Like it was going live always. You couldn't just sit back and watch it roll. You had to hold on.
You know, T.S.O.L kind of sounds like the modern day Black Flag because I know Keith and them used to talk about how Black Flag would be an obliteration on the set. T.S.O.L is like the 21st century's, and I mean, I know T.S.O.L's been around since Black Flag has, but you know,
Right,
Black
right.
Flag doesn't play anymore.
Yeah. Well, I got to be honest with you. I mean, I wasn't even around for that era. I'm not really a huge old school punk follower fan. I'm more of a metalhead. I think that's why I always fit into the band because they wanted that more rigid right hand wrist, ding, 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 and that's really a metalhead thing. So that really helped out a lot with the drumming. But I do know that they are revered and loved by every one of their peers that's come after them, and including like the guys in Pennywise and the Offspring and Blink 182 and Rancid and Social Distortion. And when I played on Ron Emery's solo records, like I got to play with some of the biggest names in punk rock.
May I
Like
ask,
that was insane.
since you said you're a metalhead, I don't really bring this up much because you probably know it's kind of dramatized past, but what do you
Right.
think of Joe Wood's records with TSOL since you were
Well,
into
it's funny.
metal?
I mean, I don't have any feelings about it. I don't think I was attached to it emotionally like the other guys were, and I can understand where some of them are coming from. It was an odd time for the band. I do know from being in the band and from what I've heard, that isn't news, that isn't known to other people, that those guys were in a bad way, and they made some weird deals about, hey, you want to keep the band going? Okay, I'll keep the band going. Give me a couple grand. Okay, you can have the band later. Bye. So I think somebody exchanged money.
Um, hello, hello, Anthony, hello. I think I lost connection there. Uh, you there? Hello.
Yeah, so somewhere along the lines, they did some kind of like, hey, you can have the name. Don't worry about it.
Well, I was referring to what's your opinion of the music itself. I already know the story of it.
Oh, I mean, I like the music. I mean, I wasn't really up on it because I got to be honest with you. It's like it's kind of like a job for me sometimes. This stuff, I just kind of learn the songs that I have to, and I think I might have listened to maybe two or three era Joe Wood songs only because they might have come on, and I was interested to hear it or something. But I really don't know it, other than I know they were kind of a cool, slinky gutter rock band that got to do some cool tours with the Chili Peppers
Yeah,
and Guns N' Roses and stuff like that. Yeah,
I'm
but yeah,
actually
I really didn't listen to the music.
as of last year. I kind of just. I mean, I interviewed Joe last year, but I never really listened to his era until 2018, 2019, and like
Right?
I like Change Today, but the rest of the albums are kind of meh. But
Yeah,
so
I jammed with Joe one time at Ron's house years ago, and I was forbidden to tell Jack about it.
oh, do you want me to leave it in this?
No, I'm just kidding. It's fine.
Oh,
I like
okay,
it.
okay. Um, so Who's Screwing Who is your first album, and then Divided We Stand afterwards.
No, Divided We Stand, I think, was just before me. Divided We Stand was done with Jay O'Brien, I believe, on drums.
Really? I thought that was
Jay O'Brien or Travis.
I thought that was 2005. Maybe I got my year. Oh yeah. It was 2003. Never mind, because Disappeared 2001. Divided We Stand 2003. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So then after that, I did the
Life
Life,
Liberty.
Liberty, and the Pursuit of Free Downloads.
That album
But we
took me
also did
so
the
long to
Live in Long
find.
Beach too.
That fucking album took me so long to find. I have it on picture disc. It,
Yeah. It's a trippy record. Jack was on the road with this dating this woman that was like 76 years younger than him, and and it was just a weird drama. Like all this stuff was going on, and his record, like the songs, kind of reflected that. Um, they're very sing-songy to a girl and trippy. It was a really weird record to be a part of because I was trying to bash out heavy beats with Roach. I was actually sending emails back and forth, but they really didn't want to hear it. They just wanted to do their own thing. But now I think they've gotten back a little bit more to the good heavy duty Top Fuel punk
yeah.
versions, but their music got a little light for me.
Yeah. I know. The Life Liberty was released through Hurley as a free download for yeah. That album took me I don't know like 4 or 5 years to find it physically.
Wow.
So, other than that, you were part of tell me about the Live at Long Beach show, that album.
Yeah, well, Bob Emery, Ron's brother, is known for archiving all of these things from way back in the day because, as you know, the T.S.O.L guys were in, suburbia. And so that movie kind of like catapulted them and some of their friends and family and other people that were in the scene to like do things and be part of the scene, whether it was recording or helping with gear. And they really did have an excellent. I mean, I make fun. Oh, all their roadies work for free, whatever. The guys that helped them are like salt of the earth, like the greatest guys ever. Um, and then Bob Emery, his brother, always archived these shows, like was videotaping old school shows and audio taping with recorders. And so when the stuff started getting cool, like with Pro Tools and stuff in the early 2000s, he had like a rig that he would bring to these bigger shows, and he would record us. There's a lot of bootlegs. Like I have so many bootlegs that I could release them and not get in trouble because I was in the band at the time. It's crazy. I haven't decided whether I'm going to do that, but
You
I have like a
should.
lot of live bootlegs. You know what I told the band way back when I was in the band? We need to create a CD burner on the side. We do a live CD every night. They do it at the board. We take the burner. We burn 20 copies. We sell them for $10 the next night. Hello, there's $200.
100%.
Every day, someone would buy the show before, right? Wouldn't you buy the show? Wouldn't you buy the show the night before for $10?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, they never listened to any. I had all these merch ideas, everything. How we should dress, how we should have banners, how we should have backdrops. They didn't listen to a thing, but luckily now they seem to have listened to it all now. It seems like a few years after I quit, they figured that was enough time had passed, and now we can do all the ideas that Tiny told us about.
So,
I'm not even joking.
what's the. What's
And I
the-
really do wish nothing but luck for them, but I tried so hard with that band because I watched all of the friends of that band love them and revere them. And I thought, as the outside drummer who knows nothing of this punk scene, who's just simply playing these songs as well as I can, if I watch this band do this well in front of these many people, if I can help them in any way to do better, then I want to have part of that. But they didn't want to hear it. They thought I was a rock star. I was fully endorsed. I was pushing them to get fully endorsed. I had ads in papers. I had fucking my name up that said T.S.O.L. When they would see that, they would freak out. When they would see my photo and my face and it said T.S.O.L. for a sponsor, they would freak out thinking I was trying to be a rock star. Do you know what I was trying to do for them?
Just push them out there?
Put their name in a fucking paper next to fucking other people that have already been under their wing and now are bigger than them. Hello.
Yeah, I get you
That's
there.
it. That's all I did. That's all I wanted to do, bro. That's it.
Well,
Do you know that I'm in a hard and heavy Vic Firth compilation CD with some of the biggest metal and punk rock drummers in the world?
which compilation is that?
It's called Hard and Heavy
Oh, yeah,
2
Hard and
by
Heavy.
Vic Firth.
Yeah, you
Hard
said.
and Heavy 2 by Vic Firth.
I
If
think
you look that up,
to
there's everybody from Scott Travis from Judas Priest to George Callias from Nile to Carmine Appice and Anthony Tiny Biuso of T.S.O.L. playing the hardest song that he could possibly pick from the Who's Screwing Who record.
I think honestly the reason that they might have done that, which I'm obviously not, I don't know them personally, but I do remember Jack saying in interviews that they don't want to be the hero band or something like that. I don't know. I mean, you've probably heard.
You know
him.
what? Those guys do love each other, and I understand it's a different kind of love that I can't relate to. But they're just, to me, they're described as three guys who stand in a circle and shoot the other guy's foot.
Oh damn. Went
They all get shit from each other for everything different all the time. I saw those guys rip each other apart over the dumbest shit, and all they needed to do was really just love each other and realize that they fucking created something unbelievable, something incredible that people watched. Do you know that I had Lars Ulrich and Bob Rock and Dexter and Noodles from The Offspring standing on the side of the stage watching me one day with their jaws open? And you know, I knew a little bit was about me, but it was really more about Bob Rock being a Canadian punk rock fan who came to America to play in punk rock bands, but found himself to be a producer, and then a legendary producer at that. I knew it was more about Bob Rock having the fucking coolest moment of his childhood up on stage with Jack, Ron, and Mike. And do you know how fucking proud that made me feel? And do you know how I kind of do have a little chip on my shoulder about the whole thing over it? Because those guys were so fucking cool and so dope, and all I did was try to help them, and they never, ever, ever accepted it. So what is your take on it?
I mean, I don't get into personal dramas and stuff, but I do understand that you're.
No, but you said you have an idea because blah blah
Yeah,
blah.
no, that's what I was saying is I have an idea. I think it's just from every interview I've seen of Jack and Ron and Mike, and rest in peace to Todd since he passed away.
Right.
From every interview I've seen, that's kind of the reason that they broke up in 1983. Well, not broke up, but Todd and Jack left the band because he went on to do Cathedral of Tears in the 90s, Joy Killer. Because T.S.O.L was the big talk back in the early 80s, from what I've read.
Yeah.
And the reason Jack left is because he didn't want to be the big talk. He wanted to be, I mean, in his earlier records, he's not credited as Jack Grisham. I think on Dance With Me he's Alex Morgan, and Beneath the Shadows he's
Sure.
something else. He's always credited. He's always changed his identity up because he's always kind of been
Right.
beneath the shadows, and maybe that might be why he looked at you and was
No,
like,
I understand, but you
"Dude,
know what?
I don't really want
look at
this."
him right now. If you look at him right now, that's the vision of the dope ass commandeering stage monster Jack Grisham that I had in 2003 and 4. The guy that was wearing the crappy board shorts and a blazer on stage that couldn't once put it together. And the guys in the band that were wearing pants with paint stains on them. And then every time we would wear suits, people would fucking bow, bro. They would like bow. We would wear suits and fedoras, and they would look at us like, "Holy shit, are those fucking guns or guitars?" And
Jesus.
that is the shit that you will take the world by storm. I understand it's not about image and stuff with them, but guess what, bro? It kind of is.
I do kind
Because
of
we live in a
notice.
world right now where the underground is not supported.
I do kind
Underground is
of.
not a place to be because everyone's got it on their phone. Everyone's got it on YouTube.
Yeah.
There's a Netflix movie about it. If you want to fucking make pocket, you got to play pocket. You got to get out there and bash it out, enjoy life, and fucking just own it. I like what I'm seeing now with those guys. They actually look like unbelievable.
I
Like
was
Jack
gonna.
was saying, with that red suit
Yeah, he
and
looks
the
spry as
super
fuck.
bleached blonde hair, dude. It's fucking dangerous. Look at the size of that motherfucker. Jesus Christ, you know?
Yeah, I was gonna say that since the Trigger Complex came out in 2017, I have noticed that they do look more intimidating and, I guess, means for business at this point. Because I like
love it.
the I wanted to see you video. They're in there. Jack looks nice. He's got his fur coat on. The image of the band today is definitely a lot different than the image of the band during the 2000s, and 100% different than the 80s. Because back then, Jack used to. I mean, there was a. God damn it! I can't. I think it was with Neil Hamburg. The interview with him, he said that he once had a job in the '80s at a paint store, and he lost it because he took some a razor and wrote "I hate customers" on his arm. So yeah, I think he's definitely. I mean, yeah, people change over 40 years, but yeah, I do think they are. If you were in the band now, I think maybe things could potentially be different than in the 2000s, just because how much they've changed. But like I said, I don't know them personally, so I can't really see it. I'm just an outsider looking in from other interviews I've seen, from all that I've read, and just from being a lifelong fan of the music. I mean, I'm 26, but I'm young.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that I see it and I go, son of a bitch, that's a, like, because dude, I mean, if you look up Anthony Tiny Biuso, T.S.O.L, 2010, 11, 12, you'll see some pretty badass photos of me, and there ain't one of the band. There's not a single photo. He would never take band photos, and when we were on tour, the guy used to hide behind a pillar when I would do these live videos and shit. So I'm glad at least they're coming out of their shell. Maybe
Yeah.
it was something eternal, you know what I mean? I get it. You got to give everybody their space and their time, but it was really, my only intention with that band, I know it sounds like I'm on a soapbox, was just to help them out. I thought they were so rad.
Yeah, I love T.S.O.L.
You know, I was doing things with other bands like Head PE. That guy was just a fucking dodo bird sometimes. He was getting the world laid out at his feet. So when I would come off tours like that, I would think, oh man, I want to see the T.S.O.L guys lined up like this, you know?
I don't really remember too much from Head P, which is why I didn't ask much about it, because I used to listen to them a lot back in the day, but the only quote I can even bring from their song is, I want to go punk rock, blow up your whole block. That's the only. Yeah, I don't really. I know they're kind of a hardcore nu metal rap rock type of group with some out there lyrics, but I don't really remember too much about them. I saw your name. I was like, holy shit, wow. That's a band I haven't heard in about a
And like I
decade.
said, I ended up recording like 26 songs, but I only recorded 16. But then there was, and then when I went back and listened to it, it was literally, for lack of a better judgmental term, it was all like rape rock.
Right, Brock. There's
Like
a
every song was about, I'm gonna tie that pussy up and rape you. And
G.G.
then some girl,
Allen.
and then some girl going, "Oh, daddy, daddy, oh, oh, baby, daddy, oh, daddy." And I'm just like, okay. And then I'm like, all right, well, listen, have a good day, and I'll be over here.
G.G. Allen and the Mentors.
Yeah, but I mean, I get it. There's a time and a place for that, and that place was actually 1979.
That's
So
what I just said.
yeah, it's kind of it's just trippy to hear a skinny black Brazilian guy, talking like that, and then calling people faggots in the audience, and telling people that they're emo homos in the front row. And when all that kind of stuff started to go down, I started to really take a look inside myself and think about what it was that I wanted to give back to the world as my lineage.
Yeah.
What do I leave behind besides my name on the stone and the dates that I was around? What is it? What's the thing that people are going to remember about me? You know what I mean? Like I just don't want it to be about some 18-year-old girl remembering that we smoked weed on the side of my tour bus. Like, that's horrible. Oh my God! I was like, wait a minute, I got to reevaluate. So yeah, man, I quit that band because I was like feeling like a Boy Scout. I was like, man, I got to get out of this fucking neighborhood.
Of all the bands you've been in, what is your favorite band or favorite artist you ever worked with?
I would have to say one of my favorite artists that I ever worked with would be the X-Members, because it was just put together in and I kind of believe now a last-ditch effort to get my fucking homie, burning his candle at both ends before he died of cancer. Because Gabby Gaborno was the singer for the Cadillac Tramps, and I was Mike Gabby Gaborno, and I was basically subbing for them here and there because Jamie Riedling would have like a surf accident or something would happen. The poor guy is super active and would always have these accidents or whatever, so they'd hit me up. And dude, on and off for years, I played with them, and Gabby would always say shit to me like this. You ready?
Yeah.
He would go. He'd come up to me. Can you hear me good?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna do my best, Gabby. He go. Hey, Tiny. Hey, Tiny. You think you're fast, Tiny? You think you're like punk rock fast, Tiny? And I go, yeah, Gabby. What's up? Okay, Tiny. Fucking X-Members, bro. X-Members. You fucking think you're that fast? X-Members. And I go, what's X-Members, Gabby? And he was just kind of doing his best, like Bato fucking gang guy up against me. And he's like, no man, the X-Members, fucking so fast, man. I'm like, okay, let me check it out. And it was badass. Look up the X-Members Average Joe when you get off the phone on YouTube, and you will have a blast. Okay, so I listened to it, and it is fast as shit. I'm going to tell you right. See if you can hear this. Can you hear this?
Yeah, I can hear it.
It's like that. Super fast. And
Damn
I'm like,
right.
wow, killer, like lunatic fast. So years go by, and Gabby gets cancer. All this shit's going on. This guy's getting injections into his eye. He's on he's going for dialysis for his kidneys. He's a mess, man. He just has a kid. He's got a 5-year-old son. It's just caving in on him, and he's not getting better. Let's do the X-Members. I'm like, okay, whatever. It was so fun and so fast and so brutal, and we put it together, and we had a bunch of really cool shows. We played like punk rock bowling, and we did punk rock picnic out in Long Beach, shit ton of bands, and just really played about 5 or 6 awesome packed lunatic shows. We did a Tiki Hut show. Look up the X-Members at the Tiki Hut or Tiki
I will
Bar.
look them up because I've actually never heard of them before.
Dude, we went off, and the music is so fun and so fast and so brutal, and that is your answer. I had the most fun with that because we basically sent Gabby off like a fucking Roman candle.
I'm sorry to hear about his passing.
The guy fell over a couple times on stage into the front of the pit. You got to imagine. This guy's getting up in the morning and having a day with his kid because he wants to have a semblance of normal with his son, even though he's dying of cancer. Then he gets one of his friends to take him because now by the middle of the afternoon he's totally weak. Gets one of his friends to take him, goes to get dialysis. It's crazy what this guy went through. Then he comes to rehearse with us, and we rehearse like 2 or 3 nights a week, and then the gigs. Crazy badass.
Yeah, like that. I'm sorry to hear about his passing, man. That's
Yeah, you know
unfortunate.
what? It's cool because it was a blessing to have him in my life, and like everybody else I know that knows him probably thinks the same exact way because now we have a lot of things to be grateful for and a lot of different things to be angled on for what we've done in life and who we've passed and the paths that we've crossed. And I don't have a family. I've never been married. I don't have kids. So probably this is why I feel like this. People that maybe have a family and have devoted their heart to a circle, they might not be this open. And I totally get that because they have enough go for that. And that's really vital go for that family, right? But for me, I don't have that. So I'm always looking out for other people and always thinking about other fucking people. So these days, it's like really important for us to just put our hearts on our sleeves and tell everybody how we feel and get our circle closer if we have to. If we have to alienate people by posting on my Facebook page today, I was like, look, man, I fucking black people and gay people, I have not a problem with anybody. What's everyone's problem? If you got an issue with that, please F off and get off my page. You're a lunatic. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to scroll by and see your stuff. You're not a lover of people. I don't want to deal with it. And you can call me judgmental and you can say I'm on a soapbox or whatever, but if I have a Facebook page that has only 1,000 people and they're all dope souls, and every time I try to sell one of my little records or my T-shirts, people all respond. Well, it's better than having 5,000 people that just look at my shit and they got haterade behind it,
What was your post
right?
recently about Brazil and Americans not wearing face masks?
Yeah, well, I was, T.S.O.L went to Brazil, and I always go a little further than most people in my theories and my ideas because I've just lived a really lucky life. And I go, hey, man, when we walked through Sao Paulo during the riots because they raised the fare on the bus 15 cents a day, and then it took like everyone's minimum wage down a whole bunch of money, like nobody was killing each other. No one was freaking out. They were just going, this sucks, with a sign in the air. A couple of them had like lit torches that were on fire, but they weren't lighting things on fire. And T.S.O.L actually walked through a riot to go to our gig at the John Tavern.
Jesus.
I mean, we walked through a riot, dude. We walked through people. We walked upstream. We did the whole salmon going, like people coming at us. And the guy was like, don't worry, they're not going to hurt you. I'm like, are you fucking, for what are we doing? So it just had me think about that the other day because people are starting to punch each other out in parking lots over someone wearing a mask or not wearing a mask, or the guy that wears a mask now thinks he needs to run around and yell at everybody for wearing a mask. I'm not even going to do that, although, and I don't want people yelling at me for not wearing a mask. It's just leave everybody alone.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
I'm
So the
from.
bottom line is I'm likening it to look at what would happen to us here. Look at what would happen in this beautiful country if they told us that there was a planet in the sky that had beings that were smarter than us. And they had machines that blew hours away. And they could source everything in our planet and make us obsolete. But they leave us here because, well, they just like checking us out and seeing how destructive it is and seeing what not to do up there.
We are a simulation.
What if we knew that? What if we could have that? People would lose their mind. You think toilet paper is the only thing off the shelf? Oh my God. People would lose their mind if they knew about aliens. Now I know I'm getting a little crazy, but I'm just
Ah,
talking about how people think. Like, I do believe in other worlds. I mean, I don't believe in a tall green guy with these big bulgy eyes and a long skinny finger. No, but I do. Can you seriously tell me that as we sit here on this beautiful earth, that you got a petri dish and you pour something in it, and next thing you know, a tree grows out of it, or a plant, or a seed? How the fuck are you going to tell me that you don't think something else exists on another planet? Dude, you're nuts. You're nuts. So we can't tell people the truth any day. On any given day, we can't even tell people the truth because they're not even ready. It's fucking crazy, bro.
have you ever considered doing a collaboration on that scale with Tom DeLonge?
I mean, I would love to. I mean, look, the reality is that most people don't focus on the beautiful thing that they have every day, which is their own life. They just think about everything else. They're outwardly directed instead of inwardly directed. And to me, it's a very simple, boring human.
I
Like, I
love
don't want
listening to
to be on my
this.
Facebook page. Huh?
I said I love listening to all this. This is.
Yep.
It
But it's
helps.
true. Yeah. It's so true. And I just wish that there was more people that thought that way because there is such a divine universe out there that's available for us and nobody taps into it. You know who's a really great guy to fucking think about? I want you after this to look up. Oh, you're probably writing things down because you're a smart kid. Earl Nightingale.
I'm technically recording this, but yeah,
There you go. Earl Nightingale.
Earl
Okay?
Nightingale.
Earl Nightingale. He has a thing called The Strangest Secret. I think it was published in 1959. And The Strangest Secret basically tells you that we're all lazy, complaining fucknards. And he told us that in 1959. So,
Head of his game.
as an individual that's seen a lot of crazy things in Queens, I grew up with Puerto Rican gay pride parades with people dancing around on stilts with tits on, and fucking gold friggin' wigs, and drag queens, and Studio 54, and who's this guy? Is that a guy or a girl? What's with those pants? Like the whole thing. And never once as a kid growing up did I think that's disgusting or what a fucking. I can tell you with an open heart, I go, what in the heck? That's not my thing. I don't get it. But I also don't like a lot of citrus. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I lived in
Like
the
there's a lot of
Philippines.
citrus. There's a lot of citrus that I don't like either. So I don't look at citrus like, well, fuck this fucking orange. I hate this. It gives me heartburn. No, I just go, I don't eat it. I don't eat. So if people could just look at humans like that, it would be an easier world. But they don't. They're all affected by all this stuff. And then they complain about it, and they don't do anything for their own life. And then their family suffers, their fucking finances suffer, and then they die.
I was gonna say I kind of relate to an earlier thing you said. You've been to 35 to 40 countries. I've been to 8 countries. I lived in the Philippines for a year, and I lived in Japan. And the Philippines, let me just say this: I don't know if you've ever been there or not, but that country completely twisted, warped, and changed my entire worldview on literally just life. Like I've never. I mean, they call it a third world country. I call it a developing country, and I don't even call it that. I call it a country that literally has its own ethics. It doesn't. It's not trying to. Well, the bigger cities try to be America and England, but the provinces, the jungle area, the other regions, they are their own identity, and I absolutely love that. They eat differently. They do things differently. They have a different
Yeah,
code of ethics over there. It's and I
yeah.
really and I see it
Can
like,
I tell you? Can I tell you? Can I tell you one of my favorite people to like people watch?
of course,
Hasidic Jews.
who?
I love watching Hasidic Jews. I see them and I think they're such a sweet, simple, family-oriented, focused, like driven sect of human. The same thing with like when I look at Rastafaris that hold all those earth things really true and burn sage and have clothes that are I look at those types of people like amazing, amazing. There are other people on this world. Yeah, man. It's the key to life, man.
It
I
is.
think that Mark Twain once said that you can't learn anything by sitting in your corner of the world. No man knows anything. You have to travel to be fully developed. Like
Damn right.
you have to know what is out there for you to even have an opinion.
Yeah,
And it's a really famous quote, and I'm going to include it here in our speak because I'm just going to look it up.
I love.
Travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness, and many of our people need it sorely on these accounts. Broad, wholesome, charitable views of men and things cannot be acquired by vegetating in one little corner of the earth all of one's lifetime. Dude, that's just fucking heavy. That's from like the 1900s,
It's truth.
you know? It is unbelievable that I live in a place where people have $1,000 machine on the end of their hand and they fuck with people over 'em. That's what they do.
Uh,
They
most
fuck with
most
they
humans are
just fuck with
simpletons.
you.
That's why.
They sit on your fucking face and they fuck with you on a phone. It's unbelievable, dude. The world that we live in has to change so fucking fast. And if you don't think that this whole COVID-19 thing is a goddamn fucking type of locust bouncing across the people that need it. I don't know what it is.
I
I
do
really
firmly
don't.
believe that coronavirus or COVID, whatever you want to call it, I do
Yeah.
believe that it is going to be. Well, I mean, it's been a game changer, and I know this is going to be a very dark comment to make, but I rest in peace to all who have died. But this world
No, I get
definitely
it.
needed something to shake it up a little bit. I know a lot of people were going to say, "Did you just?" Here, I'll say it in the most southern accent. Thank God for COVID
No,
19.
but you know what? Here's the thing, man. You say it with aplomb and decency and know that people are suffering and are dying everywhere. And it's an incredible loss. And it's such a dramatic way for people to lose loved ones at the hands of something that we all feel and kind of maybe know deep down in our hearts may have been able to have been stopped,
Yeah, see,
right?
we could have easily prevented this if we would have just been reasonable about
Because
it.
because how can you really prevent cancer? You can tell me anything you want, but I see people that jog all day that have fucking cancer. So you can eat 27,000 helpings of vegetables and jog around the block 50 times a month. It doesn't mean that you're not going to get a certain little blip in your blood, and then it fucking metastasizes, and you're wrecked, and your life goes down the tubes. So everybody has.
Hello? Hello? Tony? Shit. Fucking. I hate Facebook so much.
I'm in my studio, so it's really weird.
No, it does that to me with like everyone I talk to on the phone. It just like cuts out randomly, and especially and when I get to a really important part of a conversation, it just cuts, and I'm like, motherfucker. But yeah,
Yeah, no
I
worries.
totally agree with you on it, though. Is there anything else that you wanted to add to this since we're at about an hour?
No, man, I just blabbed for a really, really, really long time, and
I
I appreciate your
enjoyed it.
time.
You know,
And I hope
I will
that
say
everybody
this to
gets.
you, and I hope this makes your day. There are some people who I interview who I'm just like, okay, how do I stop this? Because they're either really boring or they don't have that spirit in
No,
them.
I hear you. I
You
hear you.
have that fucking spirit, and I enjoyed this conversation.
Good, man. Well, thank you, bro. I
And
really appreciate your time and reaching out.
I know you're not T.S.O.L anymore, but I hope that someday I can meet you or something like that. That'd be really awesome.
Yeah, no worries. And I just want to say too to all the T.S.O.L fans, I'm not bitter or angry. Am I a little heartbroken? Absolutely.
Well, I would be too.
But definitely not bitter or angry, but just very, very heartbroken because I just really feel like I loved Ron and Mike a lot, and I always stuck up for people and always just tried to help. And it is what it is. Everybody's got a boss, and Jack's the boss, and he runs the ship the way he wants to run it. And I've kind of always been that guy who's kind of been a little bit
Did you
oil and water with singers anyway. So I kind of take that responsibility and a little bit of that blame myself.
did you ever meet Todd at any time?
No, I didn't. And in Jack's defense, one of the guys in the band told me many years ago that they think the reason why Jack and I didn't ever really click and get
Yeah.
along was because Todd was his best friend, and I reminded him a lot of Todd
Oh.
because I was just this kind of goofy, bouncy, chubby white kid. You know what I mean? And I think I just reminded him of Todd. That's what I was told. I was told that verbatim.
I can, without knowing Jack personally, I think I can honestly see that. I mean, I don't know you personally either, but I can just.
So if that's the reason why, then I wish that he would have told me that back then, because we probably would have had a great relationship, because I would have given him a big hug. At least I would have been able to figure it out.
Some people just are quiet about things. I know Jack is a rather.
Hey man, it's all good. Time
Yeah.
time heals all, and people. The fact of the matter is, it looks like to me, T.S.O.L is doing a great job right now.
Hell yes,
So
they are.
I just hope they keep kicking butt. And Antonio's great. Antonio's been to my studio before, and I think he's a really cool dude. And he's a pounder, and that's what they need.
Yeah, I love the Trigger Complex. But,
Yep. Yeah, he's great.
Anyway, man, thank you so much for giving me the time to interview. I really appreciate it.
Nah, you're real dude.
Well,
Talk to you soon.
have a lovely day.
Be good, you too. Bye bye.